The sun beat down on the dusty courtyard of the Adeoye family compound, casting sharp shadows on everything in sight. Tade stood apart from her siblings, her eyes fixed on the ground as whispers filled the air. The family had gathered for the reading of her mother's will, a ritual that promised to unsettle decades of old wounds. "Sister Tade, are you all right?" asked her younger brother Seyi with a concerned look. Tade nodded, but something felt off. Her mother had always been strict, never approving of her choice to marry Kunle, the son of a rival family's black sheep. Now, as she waited, her heart was a bundle of nerves. The lawyer, Mr. Oho, cleared his throat and began reading from a worn-out piece of paper. "To my beloved children, I leave everything I have, the house, the land, and my savings." He paused, glancing at Tade. "Except for Tade." Gasps erupted around the courtyard. "What is this?" Seyi asked, anger creeping into his voice. "Our sister is not mentioned." "Ah," another relative exclaimed, shaking her head. "This is serious." Tade felt a cold sweat run down her back. Her worst fears were coming true. After the gathering, Tade found herself sitting with Seyi under the old Iroko tree. "Did you know about this?" she asked, fighting the tears. "Did Mama tell you anything?" Seyi shook his head. "Nothing. But you know how she was about Kunle." Tade sighed. "I have always done my best for this family. How could she do this to me? It's not like we're strangers. I'm her daughter." Seyi hesitated. Maybe Kunle's family has something to do with it. That evening, Tade sat alone in her small room, replaying the day's events. Her husband Kunle returned from work, sensing her turmoil immediately. "What happened today?" he asked gently. She told him everything, her voice breaking. "She cut me out of her life, just because of you." "Ah, this is not fair," he said, taking her hand. "We'll figure something out." "But what if we can't, Kunle? Why would she disinherit me?" The betrayal stung like salt in a fresh wound. Days turned into weeks, and while Tade tried to bury her uncertainty, the whispers in the village only grew louder. People were talking, speculating why her mother had taken such a drastic step. "Tade, what will you do now?" asked Auntie Nike, her mother's closest friend, as they met by the roadside market. "I don't know, Auntie. It's all so confusing," Tade replied, her eyes casting about as if searching for answers among the vegetables. The doubt in Aunt Nike's eyes only deepened Tade's fear. One morning, a new rumor reached Tade's ears. Her brother Seyi rushed into her home, agitated. "Tade, they say Mama wasn't in her right mind when she made the will." "What do you mean?" Tade asked, her hands tightening around the cup she held. "They say she was pressured by someone," Seyi said, his voice trailing off. Tade's heart pounded. Who could have had such influence over her mother? Determined to uncover the truth, Tade visited Mr. Ojo at his office. She needed clarity, even if it hurt. "Mr. Ojo, please, tell me what happened when the will was made," she pleaded, her desperation palpable. Mr. Ojo leaned back, a pensive look on his face. "Your mother was adamant, but there was a tension in the air. I sensed she was under some pressure." Tade's pulse quickened. "From who? Who was there?" "She was alone," he replied, but his eyes conveyed something unspoken. That night, Tade confided in Kunle once more. "Something is wrong, Kunle. Someone scared her into this." Kunle nodded. "Then we need to find out who and why." "I won't let her last wish destroy everything I've worked for. I'll fight back," she declared, her voice steady with newfound resolve. But who could they trust in a village where every whisper carried weight? Determined not to be sidelined, Tade started digging into her family's past connections. She spoke to the elders, distant relatives, and those who knew her mother well. She needed allies, or at least truth-tellers. "It's not easy, but I must know," she urged one elder, desperate for insights. "And Tade," he began cautiously, "maybe the land your husband's family argues with yours over has something to do with this." Tade nodded, a piece falling into the puzzle. The land. Finally, a break came when Seyi found an old family friend willing to talk. "Your mother, she was worried about you marrying into that family," the woman said. "But why? We didn't steal anything," Tade replied, frustration laced in her voice. "This isn't about today, Tade. It's about promises made long ago, promises broken." Promises? This was something Tade hadn't considered. Her world spun, doubts and anger intermingling. Driven by anger and a thirst for justice, Tade confronted her father's associate, whom she believed had a hand in the betrayal. "What's going on?" she demanded. "Tell me the truth." The man looked away, the tension thick between them. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I need to know what happened before I—" Her voice was firm, no longer pleading. The air was electric with unspoken words, but he offered none. Back at home, Kunla watched as Tade paced the room, their lives now tangled in uncertainty. "We'll fight them, but you need to be smart about this," he advised. Tade nodded, frustration boiling over. "This isn't just about property or money," she said. "It's about respect." "And our future," Kunle added quietly. Just as she began to lose hope, Tade was woken one night by the sound of an urgent knock on the door. It was Sayai, his expression serious. "Tade, you need to come with me. I've found something." "What is it?" she asked, fear and hope mingling as she followed him into the night. Say led her to the family house, pulling a crumpled letter from his pocket. As Tade unfolded the paper, her blood ran cold. It was a letter written in her mother's handwriting, but unsigned. "Do not trust them," it read. "They are lying. I am sorry." Tade's hands shook. "This changes everything," she whispered. "I won't stop until I find the truth." Determination set in as she realized the scales were tipping, but as she folded the letter back into its envelope, a loud crash sounded from outside, followed by shouting. She rushed out, fear rising with each step. What awaited her would either be the key to unraveling the lies entwining her family, or the beginning of a deeper betrayal waiting in the shadows. She stood breathless, caught between anger and revelation, knowing only that the truth was within reach, but at a price she might not be ready to pay. As Tade stood frozen, the crash echoed in her ears. Her eyes scanned the courtyard, locking onto a group of men who were arguing fiercely by the family compound's entry. It was Kunla standing toe-to-toe with her cousin, Bio. "What is happening?" Tade shouted, advancing toward them. "It's Bio's fault," Kunla yelled. "He claims our family's feud should have prevented our marriage." Bio sneered. "It's not just me, Tade. Everyone knows your mother was convinced to disinherit you because Kunla's family never honored a promise." Tade's stomach churned, the revelation swirling like a storm. Tade felt the world slipping away but steadied herself. She needed answers, and she needed them now. "You mean to say this is why Mama turned her back on me?" she demanded. "They claim she had no choice," Bio shot back, defiance in his eyes. "Your marriage reignited old wounds." Kunla stepped forward. "We can solve this, Tade. This is about our families, not us." But to Tade it felt deeply personal, too personal to overlook. Back inside, Tade's resolve surfaced. She turned to Kunla, determination carving lines into her face. "We can't let history dictate our future," she stated. Kunla nodded, weary but supportive. "Whatever it takes, I'm with you." Together they decided to confront the elders who bore witness to these promises. The village claims wouldn't silence them. As they reached the council of elders, the tension was palpable. The men gathered around as wise Olusegun, the eldest, began to speak. "Tade, you say your marriage led to this situation?" Olusegun asked, his voice gentle yet firm. Tade nodded. "But it's not just about that, Baba. We don't understand why promises made long ago weren't kept." "Those promises were never meant to hurt you," Olusegun said, sighing deep. "But sometimes our past burdens our future." Olusegun's words struck a chord within Tade. "Why burden my mother, then?" she demanded. Olusegun exchanged glances with the other elders. "The promises tied us in ways that seemed unbreakable. Your husband's family owed our village for land, a deal forgotten but not forgiven." Tade's eyes filled with despair. The pieces fit, but the puzzle wasn't complete. She returned home, her mind a whirlwind. The truth about broken promises choked her with frustration, and the futility of revenge soured within her. Kunla offered comfort, his words gentle. "Maybe it's time we seek peace another way." Tade met his gaze. "I've spent too long fighting, Kunla. Maybe this fight isn't just mine to bear." Late at night, Tade lay restless, her mother's unsigned letter haunting her thoughts. Memories of her mother's teachings about God whispered through her mind. She got up, went to the windowsill where an old Bible rested, and opened it reluctantly. Her eyes fell on Matthew 5:44. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Tears blurred her vision. Could she truly let go and seek peace? Next morning, she awoke to find Kunle already at the table, a cup of coffee in his hands. "I kept thinking about what Olusegun said," Tade confessed. "Maybe it's not about winning or losing, but forgiving." Kunle nodded thoughtfully. Forgiveness sounds harder than fighting, especially when your heart is so heavy. "But it's worth a try," Tade said, hope gathering strength in her heart for the first time in weeks. Tade found herself standing before Bayo again. This time her heart was still. The fight in her eyes was replaced by something softer, yet unmistakably stronger. "Bayo," she began softly, "I forgive you, and I'm moving forward. The past will not be my burden anymore." Bayo blinked, caught off guard by her words. "You truly mean it?" he asked, bewilderment etched on his features. "I do. If we keep fighting over yesterday, we'll miss out on tomorrow. Our families can find peace." The days that followed were different. Conversations shifted, whispers faded. Tade spoke openly to Sei, to Kunle, and even to the elders, each time emphasizing that love was the legacy she chose to honor. The letter from her mother, now tenderly framed, served as a reminder not of betrayal, but of the path toward release she had found. On a quiet afternoon, with the sun casting warm shadows through their modest window, Tade and Kunle prayed together for the first time, not for revenge, but for strength, guidance, and the courage to build a new legacy. "It was never about the inheritance," Tade said, a newfound conviction ringing through her words. "It's about faith in what truly matters." As rumors about the renewed peace trickled through the village, Tade found herself speaking at a community gathering, her heart unburdened. "Revenge suffocates the spirit," she said earnestly. "I searched for answers that couldn't heal. Only forgiveness could." The crowd listened in silence, the impact of her revelation seeping into the air. The impacts of Tade's choice reverberated in her community and even within herself. Though traces of hurt remained, they faded under the glow of grace she had accepted. Tade stood at her mother's graveside one evening. Her hand rested gently on the old headstone. "I hope you're proud, Mama," she whispered, closing her eyes, the image of the family's Bible at home filling her mind, her heart at peace at last. As she walked away from the grave, hand in hand with Kunle, each step felt lighter, like shedding an armor she no longer needed. "We have a long way to go, but I believe we're heading in the right direction," Kunle smiled. "Yes," Tade agreed, "with love and forgiveness lighting our path." Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, spilling golden warmth across their little home, Tade made a silent promise to herself. Her children would grow up knowing the power of God's grace, the strength in choosing forgiveness over revenge, and how true peace transcends all understanding. She whispered into the air as if speaking to the heavens, "Though I struggled, Christ brought me back." And with those words, Tade knew that though her journey of healing was just beginning, she was not alone, swathed in the peace only faith could weave. Thank you so much for listening to this powerful story. We really appreciate you and hope you learned something valuable. If you enjoyed this story or want a part 2, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss a story, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what this story meant to you. See you next time.